In today's economic climate, the need to find a reasonable place to live can be greater than ever. In America, some states can be a good deal cheaper to live in than others. Join Viewcation as we take a look at the cheapest states to live in as of 2022. Mississippi. This southeastern state is not only widely considered to be the hardest in the U.S. to spell, but also the cheapest to live in. The cost of living index in Mississippi is 83.3, making it lower than anywhere else in the country. Part of what makes it so affordable is the low cost of housing. On average, housing in the state is around a third cheaper than the national average. As of 2022, the average home costs around $140,000. Mississippi is without a doubt the most reasonable state to live in. However, the exceptionally reasonable cost of living that can be found comes with its own unique price. It also boasts the highest percentage of population below the poverty line. Nearly 20% of the state's population lives below it, and this statistic casts its reasonable cost of living in a different light. There are other things that may put prospective residents off from wanting to move to Mississippi. The education system, for example, leaves a lot to be desired. But there are several reasons that so many people choose to stay in Mississippi besides the reasonable cost of living. The state has its southern charm, and there are plenty of nicer areas if you know where to look. Kansas. The cost of living index in Kansas is only slightly higher than Mississippi's at 86.5. As compared to Mississippi, the housing isn't quite as affordable. The average house costs around $170,000. Though this is cheap compared to other places in the country, it's a hefty step up from the insanely low housing costs of Mississippi. Arkansas. Arkansas and Kansas share a lot in common, both in terms of spelling and in terms of cost of living. The cost of living index in Arkansas is only 0.4 greater than the cost of living in Kansas. It's 86.9. A big part of what makes the state so reasonable to live in statistically seems to be the relatively low cost of food. It's said to be the fifth most reasonable state in America to feed a family. Beyond its reasonable cost of living, the state also has a great deal of diverse natural beauty to take in. New Mexico. New Mexico is even more widely known for its natural beauty than Arkansas, as its vistas of red rock make the state one of the most popular places to visit in the country. Despite that, there's not a whole lot of competition when it comes to settling down. New Mexico seems to be particularly popular with the well-educated, as it boasts more PhD holders than any other state in relation to its population. The state's cost of living index is 87.5, and it doesn't take a PhD to realize how reasonable that is. Before we tell you more, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Viewcation if you haven't already. Alabama. Alabama isn't quite as reasonable to live in as, say, Mississippi, but it still has most other places in the country beat. It boasts a cost of living index of 87.9 and sits right around Kansas in terms of affordable housing at around $170,000 of an average house. Though the unemployment rate in Alabama is relatively low, there are still quite a few people in the state living below the poverty line. It's not as bad as Mississippi, but you'll certainly notice it when you get into more densely populated areas. Alabama is perched just to the east of Mississippi geographically, and it's another great southeastern state for those living on a budget. Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a cost of living index that's tied with Alabama at 87.9. But the housing prices in Oklahoma are a good deal more affordable. The average cost of a home in Oklahoma is only around $150,000. Like Mississippi, Oklahoma is also plagued with a high percentage of the population sitting below the poverty line. Whereas Mississippi's population featured a staggering 20% of its population under the line, Oklahoma has 15. Another thing the two states share in common is lacking a good education system, which might turn off some people. There are other caveats to living in Oklahoma, including the fact that, like Kansas, the state has a good deal of tornadoes to deal with. Despite these, the weather in Oklahoma is typically not as extreme as in Kansas. Another thing Oklahoma shares with Kansas is that it's pretty sparse in terms of things to do. Those looking for bustling areas will find the state lacking. Georgia. Georgia features a cost of living index of 88.8, only 1 point higher than Oklahoma. Its housing prices are significantly higher than any other state we've mentioned so far, though. The average home in Georgia costs nearly $250,000. But this is mostly due to disparity of wealth in the state, more so than any difficulty in finding a reasonably priced place to live. For the most part, living in Georgia can be incredibly affordable. The housing prices are still a quarter below the national average, and there are other things that make the state a great place to live in outside of the reasonable cost of living. For starters, it's considered a cultural hub. With the city of Atlanta as its capital, Georgia is a bustling state where there's always plenty to do. Outside of the urban culture, it's filled with southern charm. There are many reasons to live in Georgia, and the fact that it's cheaper to live in than most other states in the country is only one. It also boasts some staggering wilderness areas full of natural beauty. Tennessee. Tennessee has a cost of living index at 89.0. Its housing prices are closer to Georgia than the previous states we mentioned, but they're a little bit less on average at around $230,000. A con of Tennessee is the fact that 13% of the population lives below the poverty line, but pros include its bustling music scene and Great Smoky Mountains. Missouri. Missouri has a higher cost of living index than Tennessee at 89.8, but cheaper average housing prices at around $190,000. The state is located just between Missouri and Tennessee. Like Oklahoma, it's plagued with tornadoes. Iowa. Geographically, Iowa is just above Missouri, but it's ranked just below Missouri in terms of cost of living. The cost of living index here is 89.9, though the average house costs a bit less at around $170,000. As compared to some of the other states in this video, it has a great education system. West Virginia. West Virginia is ranked 11th in this video in terms of cost of living index, which is 90.5. However, it has the cheapest housing of any other state we've looked at, with an average cost of $120,000. The state is also very beautiful, though the job market is said to be tough. Indiana. Lastly, let's take a look at Indiana. It has a cost of living index at 90.6 and still has the majority of the country beat when it comes to a reasonable cost of living. The average house costs a little under $190,000. Though the state is home to some notable universities, the drug addiction rate is high. Now it's time to hear from you. Which one of these states was surprising to learn was on this list? Let us know in the comment section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Viewcation if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.